Hey, everybody. This week we've got a great episode. We're going to be talking about how do you sell as a commodity, or when people view you as a commodity. I don't think anything that we sell is a commodity, because if it was, we wouldn't need salespeople. We have salespeople because there are differentiators, and that differentiator may be you. Isn't that great? And how do you sell within a team? A lot of people have been emailing me saying, hey, do you have any episodes on selling through a channel, selling with partners, selling as a member of a team? And we're going to be talking about that today. I think you're going to like this episode because what you'll get out of it is a few nuances. One of the big ones that I teach, the divide and concur, which is one of my laws, meaning that you are most effective in a one-on-one situation and least effective on a one-to-many, because the many all have different agendas, all have different questions, interests, motivations, wins and losses, and they look for how it's going to help them. Their little mammal brain is thinking, is this a threat or a help to me? So we'll get into the reasons around that. And how do you prioritize your time when you have all of this huge territory, but of course, only a small, tiny percentage of it generates the revenue? Price is law. Make sure you check out that episode a few weeks ago. And make sure you stay tuned, because I drop twice a week, once on Saturday and once on Wednesday morning. So make sure you're looking forward to it in your feed and checking it out. Also, I keep up as many of them as I can in the library. So and I also try and make them timeless, what they call evergreen, where I don't try and make it just about the time of year, the time of the quarter, or some brand new thing. I try and bring you the latest things, but also weave them into the timeless things of what works in B2B sales. Make sure you're also checking out me on LinkedIn. You can follow me on LinkedIn, as well as the company page, the Brutal Truth About Sales and Selling company page, where I post videos, updates on the podcast, quotes, some funny stuff I do. And I'm putting everything up on YouTube as well. So you can see a video of the podcast interview, as well as all my tips, tricks, and comedy about sales videos. Check them out at Maverick Method, all one word, on YouTube. Hey, have you tried video email yet? I keep talking about it because it's working. It is one of the key ways of connecting with other people, because in a text email hits the mammal brain like, somebody wants something from me. It's spam. That's how they view it. A video email, it's a person. What did this person care enough about to record? I should give them a chance. I should hear them out. I'm curious. The two things that get an email opened are curiosity and utility, and you can build both of them into video email. So make sure you're checking that out at covideo.com. They've been a partner for a long time, because I believe both in the product and the team. And make sure you follow their content at covideo.com and their page on LinkedIn. Let's get into the interview. I got big updates on the courses, so make sure you listen into them if you're interested. Here we go. Hey, Brett, welcome to the show. As a way of getting started, tell us about yourself.
Yeah. Hey, Brian. So my name is Brett Locksterman. I'm a relationship manager with John Hancock in our mid-market. I service retirement plan administration for clients ranging from generally about $50 million in assets under management all the way up to my largest client is about $1 billion in total assets across, I think they have 8 or 10 plans with us overall. So work primarily in service and do participate in our sales kind of finals, pitches type environments where we're working with new prospects.
How'd you get interested in this?
In the retirement space?
Yeah.
Or in your service?
Well, I mean, selling financial services.
Yeah. So I started my career at the very base of customer service, working directly with participants. And really, I was able to interact with some clients and really loved that side of things. I feel like the sales process is kind of a showmanship event as well. And I just excelled when they kind of started putting me in that environment in different roles. And so I really like that opportunity. I really like the direct interaction back and forth with clients and stuff. So it's kind of maybe direct sales is maybe a potential goal for me career-wise as well. So just like the process, like the opportunity, the environment.
Cool. And what's it like trying to maintain these relationships and grow them? Is it easy?
No,
It's not easy.
no, it's definitely not. It's funny because I was talking to an industry partner the other day, and, part of the challenge with being on the service side of things, a lot of times is, you don't hear about the good things you do with your clients as much as you hear about the challenges that we have. And so it's a struggle to kind of keep the mindset of, I am doing these very good things for my clients and I'm helping them with their achievements and I'm doing, all of the things that we're supposed to do, when a lot of times we just kind of hear, hey, you're not doing this for me. I need you to do this, this person's not happy, and those types of things. So it's, I just try and help my clients understand that, like, their success is my passion. Yeah. And that's what I really want them to take away from working with me. So, kind of try and hide the noise a little bit and make sure that we're doing the things for them that are important and that help them meet those needs.
And how do you do this? Is it face to face? Is it mostly on the phone?
So it's kind of different a little bit, varying by market segment. So larger clients, we tend to spend more time with them face to face. Smaller clients will tend to be more kind of teleconference calls, those types of things. I generally will try and see all of my clients at least once a year. Regardless of size, but the bigger ones get more FaceTime. And for me, it's always, it's every time I have kind of a concern about a client, I feel like if I just go out and see them, everything kind of goes away. You sit in your office and kind of like cook up these, you can worry yourself to death, and so you cook up all these scenarios about how upset they are and all this kind of stuff. And then you get there in person and they're like, oh, hey, it's great to see you, and it all just kind of washes away. So that's the part of the job that I love, and that is, the most energizing for me.
And I see a lot of leadership not really appreciating that anymore, that when you do show up, because it's a give.
Yeah.
It's a symbol that you're important enough that I got on a plane or drove hours, and you have a tiny territory too, right? It's very geographically dense.
I'm supposed to. I don't, though. I go from New Hampshire to Orange County. Yeah. So, there's
not necessarily in the neighborhood. Right?
No, I'm not. I think it's, that's one of the struggles that we have, frankly, is a lot of the times my primary contact is going to be somebody who would be like a director of benefits, or even kind of a benefits manager, somebody that's kind of more entangled in the day-to-day operations. And we have really tried to strive over the last couple of years to deepen the relationships with the controller, the CFO, the CHRO, the person, in certain elevations, there's, another benefits person. And so we've kind of tried to do those types of things. And a lot of times it is difficult because those folks have such limited time, and, you kind of get there and you're the 401k guy and it's like, hey, cool, good to see you, tell me what I need to know and, get out of my face. So right. But we try and do other things to deepen relationships with those folks, maybe more, non-face-to-face type interactions.
And it being viewed certainly by the market as a commodity, how do you differentiate yourself and block out your competition?
Yeah, I think for us, it's definitely, we've tried to create some products and some things that our competitors are not bringing to the market. And then really I think when we win business is also how we strengthen business, which is really, I feel like it's cliche to say, but it's the people, it's we the experience that we bring and the high touch service that we bring to the market really is different than a number of the providers that are out there. So
Yeah.
I think, when we win, it's when folks value that. When we lose, candidly, I think it's when somebody wants a turnkey experience through another provider that's, kind of set up with higher scale or, a bigger brand name or something like that. But I really, as I think probably in the last 5 years I've been in this role, I think I've probably done 20-ish sales finals, had a success rate of about 50%. And it really feels more, as I get to this period, the connection that you make really drives kind of how we're going to go. And it's not necessarily all about the what, as much as it is when we're in there, because to your point, we all do kind of the same base things, and figuring out how to make that connection and help these folks understand we're going to take care of them is really kind of, I feel like, when we're able to win and have a good connection.
So when you sense that they don't value that, do you back off?
So in my interaction with, so we sell primarily through intermediaries. So our financial advisors are bringing us to the table to interact with our clients or prospective clients. So a lot of times I'm only getting involved kind of in that very end stage.
Yeah.
So it's tough because I'm only meeting these people for 60, 90, maybe 120 minutes if I get it. And so it's kind of hard for me to really, to kind of peel back, right? Because it's almost like I only get this small amount of time with them. And I kind of struggle with that because my wife works in a similar position, not industry. She interacts with she kind of helps build sales decks and materials for another company.
Yeah.
And, she hears me talk about it all the time. And they, in their industry, will have these, what they call, I guess, like yellow pad sessions with clients ahead of the pitch.
Yeah.
And that makes a lot of sense to me because you really have a better understanding from them.
What they
a lot of times our advisors that we sell through, sometimes they don't even really know exactly what the client is looking for.
Yeah.
And so I've kind of pitched that to my boss a little bit to say, hey, and my regional sales guy that I work with to say, we need to ask for this. Like, it's a total differentiator for us to ask to meet the client ahead of the sales final. But we've had a couple situations where we've gone into the room the day before.
The beauty contest, yeah.
Yeah, right. And
with the bikini.
Exactly, yeah. And, we do that, one, because, you're trying to prep for tech, right? Because tech never works. And the second thing is sometimes we've been able to actually meet with the people that we're going to meet with the next day. And it's almost like that first entry, hey, I'm a normal person. I'm going to be here tomorrow to meet you. And those have been successful. So I think I'm going to try and work with my guy really to help, just to try and push us towards that activity. And if we get turned down, okay. But if not, I think it shows folks, we really are interested in making a connection.
And it's kind of a qualifying activity. And it's also what I call divide and concur.
Mm-hmm.
Because otherwise you're kind of guessing what they care about.
Mm-hmm.
And you might hit it, but you might not. And I think people today, you turn the PowerPoint on and people just fall asleep. Or no matter how captivating you might be as a speaker.
Yeah, absolutely.
And how do you learn about stuff? It's really interactive. It's one-on-one. It's, what do you care about? Oh, our people are young and they're looking out 30 years. They care about this or that. We have a match, all the things that they care about. And because why do you lose clients? It's because they're unhappy with something else. Somebody came in with some fancy new thing, new shiny object, or they know that person better.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Same. I mean, absolutely. Or, we use the analogy all the time about, the test drive. You're not interested in a car and then you go test drive it and now you want that one, and a lot of times when we're in retention situations, we have clients that have been with us for 20 years, everything's great, nothing's wrong. And they kind of do a due diligence deal. And then all of a sudden they're out the door, and there's,
Yeah. And
uh,
it's usually a misunderstanding too, like a test drive.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, the stereo's not surround sound. Oh no, that's the button there.
Yep.
You
Yep.
know,
Absolutely. Yeah.
and I use that analogy a lot on the podcast, is because I bought 2 cars recently. One was the best test drive I've ever had, and the other was he just gave me the fob and said, "You're on your own."
Yeah.
And I got into the car and I go, "Can you show me how to start it?" Because it was a button.
Right.
Where do I turn the fob? It was
Right. Yeah.
a generational thing.
Sure. Yeah.
And that's where the selling really takes place. Being in that beauty contest, here, come in and do the dog and pony, and I hope you hit the things that we care about and stay away from the things that we don't care about.
Right. Right.
You might have that sensory observation, but then you got different people in the audience. You got HR, benefits, controller, maybe CEO, whoever.
Yeah.
All have very different concerns and interests.
Totally. Yeah. And I think, and I'm sure this is consistent across industry, but there's brand bias that we,
Sure.
that we fall victim to. If you asked any random person on the street, like, who's the top 401k provider in the industry, they're probably going to go, oh, well, that's Fidelity. Like, because Fidelity has TV commercials, right? And they have a marketing plan, and it's just a different,
Huge,
so,
yeah.
so people bring those to those situations, and our intermediaries bring them too. I'm in a kind of, my background is really more diverse than most people in my role because I've been on the client side. I was an HR administrator at this little airline called Southwest Airlines. And then I worked as an investment advisor / consultant for 2 years as well. So, I've seen everything from what I call all 3 camera angles. And so I try to bring those experiences in, and it's amazing how a lot of times when I kind of explain my background and kind of why it's important for me to be in the room, I'm fascinated by how often I get these blank stares from people, and it's like
they're used to an empty suit. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, I've been in your shoes. I actually have the empathy that I can bring to the table to help you. But so many times people, I think, are just kind of like, whatever. It's very interesting to me that doesn't play better, in certain situations.
Me too, because I had a similar career path and a different, in the engineering side, then going selling products to engineers.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew how they thought, and they didn't look highly on salespeople. They saw the salespeople as the guy who drove the engineer there to help them.
Yeah. Yeah.
and in your space, I'm sure it's insanely difficult.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, we see people buy for the wrong reasons, and it's frustrating because, you get so emotionally invested in each one of the different opportunities that you go through, and you feel like the snap decision can be made. And I've seen it too, which is, I've literally watched my clients make decisions, in an instant, when there's a lot of responsibility around the decisions that they make. And, as an advisor, you would always try and help people understand, there's a lot of kind of behind what the decision that you make, that you document, that, because there's regulatory things involved. And still so many times, it doesn't kind of come into the final decision. So, it's even tougher because, we can't, on the provider side of things, you can't really say things like that and then kind of usurp your advisor's role as well. But you would still like for them to understand some of those things, right? Like you have fiduciary responsibility here, and that's a big deal. So, deciding to pick a provider based on what 10% of your population may or may not interact with may not be the right thing, So how do combating that has been a challenge for us recently as well. So.
And what's it like having to work with and through the advisors? Is that?
It's advisor dependent, honestly, I will say that I feel like I have a better sense of how to do it than a lot of my colleagues, just because I have been there and the mindset, I totally understand the, position that these folks are in. They eat what they kill. If they lose clients, they lose, it's like they literally
commission.
It's so I get it. And the other thing is, a lot of advisors are going to have triple or even quadruple the number of like clients that I personally have. Yeah. So I understand how busy they are. And so I'm constantly trying to find ways to increase efficiency with them, make their lives easier, build their business up. But sometimes it's, some advisors are good with that. Some of them don't think that, sadly, I think a lot of advisors view folks in my role as just kind of like you're the dumb RM guy that got, like you've been around, for a long time. You got pushed up because where the bodies are buried in the organization, but like you don't bring anything to the table, and it's sad because I meet with a lot of guys. I had dinner with one of my advisors in LA a couple weeks ago, and we built a good friendship. And he said, "Hey, I don't do this with other relationship managers." He's like, "I'll go to dinner with wholesalers and stuff," but he's like, "You're the only one I go to dinner with." He's like, "Cause you have perspective, and that felt good. But some of those guys, it's like, hey, they don't want to talk to you unless it's, unless about
something.
Yeah. So it's, up and down. It's like, you have two relationships to manage for every client that I have, so it's challenging and interesting at the same time.
How do you build and earn their respect?
I think a lot of times for me, it's just being completely transparent with them around all situations that we have. I think I learned early on in this business, you cannot overpromise and underdeliver. It just is not, you just can't do it. So you have to be open with people. I always try and just I just try and treat folks the way that I expected to be treated when I was an advisor, which was just give it to me straight. Yep. I think everybody in the 401k industry would agree. We all say, everybody would say this: there are things that go bump in the night. That's a standard, industry statement, right? So figuring out how to deal with those as they come, and just being open and honest for me is the way that I think I've developed trust with my advisors. I have some advisors that I will share things that I see other advisors or other groups doing with, if I feel like maybe they have a deficiency or it could be an upsell for them. And I think that you can really help them differentiate themselves. They also feel like you have their best interest in mind. And I think any advisor that would not want that and would not see that as a trustworthy characteristic is probably not somebody I'm going to do well with. Long term.
How do you get rewarded? Is it based off of revenue, total revenue? Is it retention? Is it?
It's a combination. So It's funny because I think about your video about the comp plan, like
You can understand it. Yeah.
yeah. So it used to be, we used to have, like 4 measurements. Well, it's funny. I've been here 5 years. Initially, it was just a, salary and like percentage of salary bonus. Like there was no quantifiable measurements. Then we moved to a scenario where we have kind of 4 individual buckets that are measured: retention, concession. Well, retention was one, concession budget, new sales, and then there was a discretionary component. Now we have, like, I'm not even being facetious, I think there's 15 different categories of,
it's crystal clear.
Yeah. So, and the challenge is, where I have to kind of pick and choose my battles. Like, do I overspend my travel budget so that I can see my clients but lose that portion of my bonus to keep the other one? So, I mean, but the main driver is retention. The biggest category is retention. So that, to me, it's like, and that's the name of the game for us with, kind of in-service clients. You have to have retention. You have to keep them.
And what are the signs that you might be losing them?
I've never lost a client to service issues. Whenever I've lost clients, it's been due to like merger and acquisition type activity where the company gets bought. And then, typically kind of the buyer will come in and say, look, we got a, sweet deal with Vanguard or whatever. And so we're picking the business up and moving. But I kind of, am like the team's second in command as well. So I do a lot of mentoring with our other team members. And so I help them through some of those situations. And I think a lot of times what I'm seeing with them is revolving around communication, if we're not getting back to our clients as quickly as we need to. Yeah. And then secondarily is price. I mean, our market has literally been driven towards zero in the last 5 years. So, if you're not being proactive with your pricing reviews, you can get caught. And, it's challenging because, at one point it's like, the client's asking you for a reduction, but at the same point, if you go too far with that reduction, then they're like, well, you've been charging me, you've been able to do this for X for so long, and now you can do it for, less than that. Like, that's not cool, and it's really difficult to explain to them kind of how quickly the market can rotate in terms of price.
Yeah. And how about as far as growth? How do you find, or what are the signals for growth? Is it companies just growing, better markets?
Yeah, I mean, again, I, as much as I have experienced and seen, us lose clients due to merger and acquisition, I've also been very fortunate to have clients that are in growth mode and are bringing us businesses that they're picking up. So I would say in terms of, like an in-service client, growth is purely due to acquisition. In that sense, in terms of new business, I think for us, it really revolves around finding pockets of advisors that we've never worked with before that, kind of will give us a shot, and then we'll realize what we can bring to the table. And then, we could have an advisor that's not done business with us before, and then now 2 years later, they've brought us 5 plans, so it's kind of like you find these pockets where you're the hot commodity, and then you can really hammer on that.
Cool. Hey, I appreciate your time today. If people want to connect with you on LinkedIn or social, where do they go?
Yeah. So, I have a LinkedIn profile. You can just find me under my name, Brett Locksterman. And, that's really kind of the primary one that I use. So yeah, thanks, Brian. Really appreciate it.
Hey, Brett's a great guy. He's also a listener of the podcast, and we had connected through LinkedIn. He liked some of the funny videos that I put up there. And make sure you check out my free ebook at b2brevenue.com. Just put your email in there. I don't spam. Once you validate your email, link to the PDF file. It's a real book, though. It's not one of those scam books where I ask 50 people to write a paragraph. It's a real book. I used to sell it on Amazon, but I said, I think it's better just to give it away. It'll give you a sense of my approach, which is selling to companies the way companies buy. Nobody teaches this. How do I know that? Because I talk to salespeople and sales leaders every day, all day. And the epiphany that I had, fortunately, early in my career, was that if you learn how companies buy, then you know how to sell to them. Too many people treat the complex sale like the simple sale, where it's just a conversation. A conversation will only get the next action. Rarely does it create change within a company, because a company is a group of people. Think how complex it is once you have two people going to lunch or dinner. All of a sudden you get the, where do you want to go? Where do you want to go? I don't know. Where do you want to go? Then you add 3. How about if you had 10 or 20? It becomes impossible. Somebody has to lead and just say, this is where we're going. If you like it, great. If you don't, well, wait a second. I'm a pescatarian. I'm vegetarian. Oh, God. I know. You get where I'm going with this. Hey, so update on the course. This is going to be the last month I'm going to include the questions that sell course with any course that you buy. So if you buy, start the conversation, get the meeting, I'll include it. It's a $500 value for free. I'll send you the coupon code once you sign up. And there's instructions in the course on how to do it. Just got to make sure you apply the coupon code before you hit submit so it zeroes out. The second is I want to update you on the shift to more of a case study approach. So what I'm doing is I'm taking the one-on-ones, which are included in the course for free, unlimited. Those are recorded on Zoom. They're put into the course anonymously. No one knows your name, your company, your product, anything about you. And working them into the office hours. So people get a full deal and a full process case study in the office hours. So we can talk about them. They're every other Friday per course. So it's community, it's content, it's coaching, all put in together in a year to take your game to the next level. And you can pay per month or you can pay all at once. It's not a membership, though. It's a monthly 12-month payment. So don't misunderstand that. I try and make that as crystal clear as possible. But people seem to want to believe what they want to believe. Also, check out my YouTube channel, Maverick Method on YouTube. There's tons of videos up there. And make sure you're investing in yourself. Ask yourself, are you willing to take your game to the next level? Now, your mammal brain's going to come up with all kinds of reasons, excuses, procrastinations on why you should put it off. You know why? Because your mammal brain only cares about today. It only cares about your next meal. The neuroscience behind success, which I've been studying exhaustively the last 12 months and curiously for the last 20 years, is that this separation, and we try and work with the conscious mind, but the conscious mind, not so good because it reacts to the subconscious mind, which is 95% of our brain activity. So the secret, the key is to condition our unconscious mind to do the things that get our conscious mind the rewards, not just today, but this month, this quarter, this year, this lifetime. And this epiphany, once you realize it, is game-changing. And I've been building this course called A Year to Excellence. I'm trying to figure out the exact delivery model, whether to do it with just content and help people go through it, to do it through email, to do it through an app. I'm not sure yet what will work best. But if you join the course, I'll be talking about it throughout the office hours. So what do the courses get you? Well, first, go to b2brevenue.com, hit training. You can review them. The table of contents is a little cryptic because I don't want people just assuming that they know things, because knowing is 10%. It's like the conscious mind. You think you know it, but are you doing it? It's building up a system over a year with the help of other people, by watching what other people are doing, learning from other people, which is the genius step. That's what separates geniuses from everybody else, is they're able to learn from other people's mistakes. And you get unlimited one-on-ones, where you get to sit down with me on Zoom, go through applying the course to your situation, your deals, to help you become better. I will do the exact emails with you. We'll go through getting into any particular account. We will walk a deal through the first meeting all the way through close. Whatever it is that will help you crush your number, that's what I want to build into this course. This is not a scam course that you see on YouTube by some chop karate guy or some monkey flying a plane that he leased. I have sold. And you can check out my resume on LinkedIn. You can look like 10 years of podcasts here, 9 years of videos. This was not my plot to take a couple of bucks out of your pocket once a month. My plot was to help salespeople because I love selling. And if you don't get that, please just move on. I do not need everybody in the course. I just want the right people in the course. So you can schedule a time to talk with me, a 15-minute slot. I do ask that you pre-qualify yourself. This is not a chit-chat talk. This is not a career coaching talk. This is not a, hey, this is my situation talk. This is, I want to accomplish something. I have questions about the course. Can the course get me there? And sometimes the answer is no. And I will tell you, and I've told people, it's like, nah, what you're doing is overkill, or do you have enough time, at least an hour a week, to dedicate towards this, to making yourself better, even though you should be doing more? Hey, but check it out at b2brevenue.com. Also, check out my buddies over at pipedrive.com. Pipedrive's just cooking it this year. You got to evaluate it. Just check it out. There's a coupon code, Brutal Truth, in the show notes. Put that in. You get 60 days free. Connect it up with your Gmail account, your calendar. If you're an entrepreneur, connect it up with your website. For what you get for that, you would pay several $100s from any other vendor. And it works. And it's easy. And that's why we love it. We'll see you next time.